Hello, friends. Today I am talking about one of the most common phrases that victims of narcissistic abuse use after they're out of the relationship when they're on their road to recovery. And that phrase is, I miss my old self. I want to share a quote from the book Whole Again by Jackson McKenzie, who's also the author of Psychopath Free. One of the most common phrases I hear from trauma survivors is, I miss my old self, the person who felt cheerful, loving, and fun. When I first read that in this publication, which I read recently in the School of Transformation, we kind of read it together. When I first read it, it was such a flashback to myself, because when I started this channel in 2017. Now, I had the channel just so that I could comment on other people's videos and whatnot, but I actually started posting videos for myself in 2017. And in that same year, within, I think, 3 months of starting the channel, I wrote a publication called I Miss Me and I Want Me Back, which, by the way, you can get free. I'm going to leave you the link here. It's a fillable PDF that you can get free. Anyway, my point is how true that felt, how true that is, that after narcissistic abuse, you feel erased. You feel so far from the person you were. If you were raised with narcissistic parents, you may have never even ever had an identity of your own. So it's not like I miss me. It's more like I never had a me. And the reason that is because narcissistic abuse is not just about somebody else being mean to you. We think of emotional abuse as somebody being rude, unkind, unloving, verbally abusive. And yes, all of that is true, but it is so much more. It's a form of psychological abuse that gets into you. It gets into your subconscious brain. It gets into your nervous system, and it changes and distorts your self-image. Your authentic self goes into hiding within, which gives birth to a protective self as well as a false self. And you begin living life out of that protective self or that false self. And your authentic self can go years and decades without ever coming out. But I want to let you know that if you felt that, or you're going through it now, it does not have to stay that way. Your authentic self is not gone, even though it feels like you've been erased. It's almost like your authentic self is here. It's just been buried underneath the trauma, underneath the coping skills that you had to develop just to survive. Going back to Jackson McKenzie's publication, he went on, after talking about that phrase that most victims of narcissistic abuse say, he goes on to say, what if the old self hasn't actually gone anywhere? What if we just have some very stubborn messages living inside of us that block us from experiencing it? Now, maybe in 2017, if somebody had said, Michelle, you're going to get back to that old self. Well, maybe not exactly that same old self, but a better self, because you will be more authentic. So my point with this video is, if you feel that way or have felt that way, or if you've been feeling this way for a long time and you're tired of feeling this way, and you feel like you're never going to break through, trust me, you can. You just have to be willing to give yourself the compassion, time, and dedication needed to heal, because narcissistic abuse changes you on a neurological level. It changes you on the inside. It rewires your brain, and it does take time. If you've been struggling for a long time, this month in the School of Transformation, we're going to be talking about the whole month. We're going to be talking about deconstructing the self-image or the identity that narcissists forced you to think that you have, to think that this identity is you. And we want to deconstruct that and start peeling back those layers to our authentic self. So if you've been on your journey for a long time and you're tired and you feel like you're just hitting a brick wall and you want some help with that, make sure you check us out. You can try the school for 7 days and see if it's a good fit. But I want to encourage you to not give up, because going through narcissistic abuse is bad enough. It causes you to lose so much of your life, so much of your time, so much of your authentic self. After you're out of the relationship, there's nothing worse than still suffering from all of that. So love yourself enough to be willing to peel back these layers, to get back in touch with your authentic self. I promise you, you will not regret the effort.